Hi, my name is Michelle Smith, and this is my video submittal to accompany the PowerPoint slides I submitted as the final presentation for our organizational leadership class. I posed the question of where do leaders come from? Are they born or are they made? Does God have a say in who's leading, and does the Holy Spirit have influence in leaders' lives? I chose to utilize a qualitative analysis to look a little bit deeper into the lives of three exemplary leaders. In Lori Beth Jones' book, Jesus CEO, Using Ancient Wisdom for Visionary Leadership, she devises three strength categories. She says there's a strength of mastery, the strength of action, and the strength of relationship. And that to be successful and effective leaders, that we must have these three dimensions, three categories. So I used those as the basis for my measurement, and I selected three leaders: Ken, Amy, and Derek. And I devised three questions, crafted, giving the respondent a kind of a wide breadth of opportunity to answer the questions, because I really wanted them to do a lot of talking. So I was looking at specific areas of interest. I wanted to know, again, in association with self-mastery, do they know themselves, a leadership role, their styles, how self-assessment, those kind of things. What have they done? So my question was, what do you know about yourself as a leader? I found that all of them knew themselves fairly well as a leader. They had taken examples of the Myers-Briggs test inventory, the DISC communication styles, and did know themselves fairly well in those areas. The second question I asked was, what do leadership and influence have to do with each other? I wanted to gain some insight into how do they look at power and influence? Are they familiar with coercive power, positional power versus personal power? Both Ken and Derek used that terminology. They talked about having kind of personal power and just the idea of influence upon people. Amy didn't use that terminology. It didn't sound like she was very comfortable with the idea of power in itself. And she had been a loan officer and felt like she was quite powerful in that role, but preferred some other power, more of collaborative power than anything else. The third question I asked was, do you have a personal mission statement or core value that you share with others? I really wanted to know kind of what is their mission? What do they think their vision is and their values? How does that drive their beliefs about themselves and about others? All of them really felt like they wanted to help others. Ken was the only one who had a very specific mission statement, in that he is more tenured in his role in business. He is a leadership consultant and manager and assists large businesses in increasing their production and goals and those kind of things, and that truly is his mission statement. Derek felt like his desire is to motivate and to help other people be purposeful in their own leadership. So all of them said at one point or another, well, that's not true. With the exception of Ken, the other two really didn't ever mention wanting to lead. Ken was the only one who was intentional in being a leader. So I looked at some scriptures and really came to believe that leaders are both born and made. You know, in Psalm 139, 13 through 16, David talks about the intimacy that God has with us even as we are still in the womb. He says, for you created for you created my inmost being, you being God. You knit me together in my mother's womb. My frame was not hidden from you. All the days obtained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. I firmly believe that God has a specific plan for every single one of us. There are additional leaders out there who say that there's no clear path for leadership, no simple checklist, that leaders have to grow into their roles, and it is as roles become more demanding, the leaders have to keep growing. That's very true. Ultimately, I believe God is in control. Colossians 1:16 says, "For by him, Jesus, all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things were created by him and for him." So therefore, I think the Holy Spirit does work in and around and among us, and it's not just reserved for those for acting in the hearts of people that haven't yet recognized their need for God. I believe God is fully in control, and utilizes the skills and talents that we yield to him, and he also endows upon us incredible abilities as well. Thank you.